to get here. But I agree, brother. Not a thing wrong with that. I think the world will be a better place if more people drove pickup trucks. I don't know what they put in it. You people distract me. You take me places I had no intention of going. I remember that now from the last time that I was here. This is one of the reasons that I love being with God's people. We'll leave here tonight, and we won't regret that we were here. We will be glad that we were in the Lord's house with His people. We'll be glad that we sang to Him and clapped to Him and worshipped Him and wept before Him. We'll be glad that there'll be a lot of people at the end of this day, the parts that they can remember, they'll regret. Really. But we will be glad that we were in God's house with God's people. I get giddy about it sometimes. I really do. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, I mentioned before, I grew up in church. I grew up in the Pentecostal church, you know, and I mean, I grew up in the old line Pentecostal church. I'm talking about, you know, the kind of Pentecostal church where there weren't a lot of safe places that you wouldn't get run over. I can remember lots of times when I was a little bitty kid, because we had church, the church I grew up in, we had church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, and every Saturday night. And you know, we didn't just kind of gather and meet and have church and then leave. We got there and we stayed for a long time. Because the pastor was bound and determined that we weren't leaving until God was through moving. But sometimes God didn't even start moving until 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I mean, most of us felt it, but if the pastor didn't feel it, then God wasn't moving. And you're going to hang around till He does. So there were lots of times, especially on those Wednesday nights and those Sunday nights and those during the week, during those revivals, when I was a little bitty kid, and I had to sleep before school the next day, so I'd just crawl up underneath the church pew somewhere and try to, you know, when you grew up in the Pentecostal church, the noise didn't bother you that much, you know, when you were a kid. And I can remember that seemed like the safe place to be, and I'll never forget. I don't remember exactly what night it was, but I do remember that I was curled up underneath the church pew because I had school the next morning, and I thought, this is a good place to be. Nobody will bother me here. And the next thing I know, I opened my eyes, and Sister Louisa Richardson was underneath there, shouting. I mean, she was having church up underneath that church pew, and I'm thinking, how did you get here? It was an effort for me to get down there. She ended up down there, and I'll tell you, she was having church down there. She was having a wonderful time with the Lord, and I thought, well, it's going to be over soon because God's obviously moving. Sister Louisa was underneath the church pew, so obviously God is moving. I don't even know where I was going with that. Other than to say, I will say this, that I'm grateful and thankful for that heritage. And I'm thankful for the foundation that it has laid for me. The beautiful thing, the important thing to remember is it is a foundation. It is a place where we begin to build. It is not the completed place, but it is the place where we begin. It's where God began my journey, and I'm grateful. I go to a United Methodist church now. Now, unless I told you it was a United Methodist church, you wouldn't know it. You would think, wow, they have recreated the South Urban Pentecostal Church of God in this building. But the church that I go to now, it's not as loud as the church that I grew up in, but it's just as sweet and just as powerful and just as moving. And we are just as in love with God as Sister Louisa Richardson was. Or Sister Maddie Brenner was. She always started the church service off with all stacked up really high and tall. But before it was over with, the hair was down, and we don't know where all that ammunition that she called bobby pin was. We always said she lost her degree and her education when her PhD came down. Pentecostal heritage, you know. But I think the thing that I'm most certainly, definitely most grateful for above everything else is God's mercy and God. And God's grace in my life. It's the thing that enables me to stand here and declare to you that God is alive. I believe with all of my heart. It's the faith that I have that convinces me of who God is. But I'm also very convinced by His love for me. And the things that He's done in my heart and the things that He's done in my life. And I've often said it, if the fountain of the blessing were to be shut off today, I could say, God, you have been abundantly clear in your love for me. He hasn't held back in His love for us and His mercy for us. He could have stopped when Jesus came up from that tomb and went to heaven and left us the promise to come back. But He said, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to be with you, and there will be a comforter and a spirit that will dwell within you, and He's going to encourage you and bless you and feed you and prop you up and be there when your tears, you can't seem to get them to stop, and be there when the chills are going up and down your back and you're frustrated, and He's going to be there when the phone rings and the news is devastating. He's going to be there when you don't think you're going to make it through the night and you're wondering if the sun's going to come up. He's going to be there. That's God's mercy and love for us. And that's God's grace for us. And I love, you'll probably notice that pretty much everything that I sing